Hello everybody and welcome back. Yesterday I showed everybody, or the last video I should say, I showed everybody this Sit Pro thing to help us with understanding how to really get our lower body to work and everything. And then I said I'd follow that up with a video that's going to explain the upper body movements and the hand path and all these wonderful things. First of all, this thing is absolutely amazing for what it's going to show you in your golf swing. So let's get into the hand path for a second. Now again, if you haven't seen the other video, go back and watch it because you're going to really learn a lot. Well, if we put this in this position like we're ready to get this to hit the shot, and then we make the movements, look at this angle right here, okay? And everybody wonders why Hogan's swing path, Mr. Hogan's swing path, look like it's coming more inside than everybody else. Because most people, when they do the modern swing, you're moving this way with the hands as the body's trying to turn this way. And as you could see, these really are not, they don't match up at all. So by understanding, remember, if I put this behind me and I sat on it and I can really feel what's kind of happening in my hips, because even though I'm feeling this in the hips, the dynamic motion when you apply this thing is going to be more dynamic, and it's going to look like there's going to be more movement than what this is teaching you. But to understand it, just go back and watch that video. But for the hand path, as we make these moves, you can see that this angle is, hey, that's where the club should go. And that's why it looks like Mr. Hogan's got basically an inside path that he's going on. Let me show you this from a different angle. Again, when we get set up and I've got this thing and I'm set up in my good posture and I'm right there and you can see it's right here, so I'm gonna make the move. Look at the angle of this thing. So I'm here and it goes this way. So now all of a sudden, instead of my arm wanting to go this way, it's just following my body, guys. It's just following my body. And this is real simple to see when you can understand this thing that we talked about in the last video. Arm path, hands, everything's gonna come in. And I'm gonna explain this to you in a different way, in a big different way. So let's get started and let's pay attention. All right, everybody, for this part, what we're gonna do is we're gonna understand, 100% understand. So we've got the club, let's get set up like Mr. Hogan. We're right there, okay? So our first move, as we move the hips, the hands have to be following what the hips are doing. So this is what causes everything to move basically up and in, if you will. But there's a lot more to it, okay? So up and in isn't taking the arm and going like this. It's actually taking this whole side, the lead side, the back of the lat, the arm, and everything. And we know that Mr. Hogan waggled and everybody's like, oh, you can't really roll the hands and you don't want to do that. Well, yes you do, okay? And the reason for it is when I start, there's the waggle that Mr. Hogan had and all this stuff. So here goes the body. And if I let this roll, what it's really doing is it's rolling the whole arm like this. The whole arm is rolling. See how you can kind of see my elbow here? This is an exaggeration, but this is exactly what's going on. So most people, when they're taking the club away, see how my elbow is? If I look down at it from your angle, I'm not sure where it's going to look like it's pointing. But if I get here and this elbow is down, I am, as far as Mr. Hogan's golf swing is concerned, in all kinds of different trouble, because it does not match up to the great rotation that I'm getting with my body. But once I can say, okay, I've rolled the club, and then I get to here, and if there was a ball in front of me, this elbow would be pointing right at the ball. It would not be pointing to the ground. It just wouldn't. The arm feels like it goes like this, like This is what Mr. Hogan was doing. He was not going like this, He was going this way. See, if you put your arm out in front of you and went like this, that's the arm movement that Mr. Hogan is making. Point blank, okay? The arm has to feel like it is going. See how you can see my elbow there? But what most people do is they try to put Mr. Hogan's good rotation and body work, and instead of letting the arm go like this, the arm goes like that. See how the elbow is still pointing down? But this way, the elbow is working around, and at this point, it's going to be pointing to where the golf ball is at. So when we can understand this, it's going to make a heck of a lot of sense, okay? So now all of a sudden there's the waggle, we're doing all this stuff with our hands, and I'm really going to overcook this thing right now just so you can see. Look we've all seen it to where when he's making the waggle, that this arm kind of moves this way a little bit, and this elbow moves in. If you really pay attention to it, you can see what's going on. So, and I'm over exaggerating it for us so that you can really see how this arm is going like this and this arm is coming in just like that. So I'm just over exaggerating the heck out of it so you can see it. Well, if he's telling himself, hey, these are the feelings I want to feel right before I take this club away, guess what? And if I continue to go up, see how this is now working around me like this so that I can come back into the ball versus this way to where I can come down into the ball. There is a huge difference, okay? Now, the best thing that I have found is this incredible drill. Okay, and if you get set up, you are going to feel the difference. All I want you to do is get set up in your posture, and I want you to put the club over your shoulder just like this. So then I want you from here, I want you to make the good moves that we've learned about, and I want you to feel like you're going to take your hands and go like that. So they're going to feel like the butt of the club is going to go up here to the sky, up here. Okay, that is how most people are getting their body to move when they have this rotation or trying to do Mr. Hogan's golf swing. So right here, we've got the butt of this is going to be pointing to the ball, and all I want you to do is take that up to the sky. And you're going to feel like, my gosh, I've crossed the line and all this. This is not your golf swing. This is just so that you can feel the difference between what most people are doing and why it's wrong, okay? So we're gonna be like this. And the second I start taking this up to the sky and I get right here, look how this elbow, if you looked at it from your perspective, the elbow would be facing down. So all of a sudden we're like, no, that's right. This is not what we wanna do in our golf swing. Okay, what we have got to learn how to do, instead of taking this and making it go to the sky, I want you to take this and make it go around you. So all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, okay, that is a lot different than this. It's rotated, it's moved in this, half of a circle, if you want to call it that, to this side of my body. So the correct way is going to be here. Now instead of going this way, we're going to go around. And now when I put this club out, you could see how it's underneath the shoulder because I've went around my body to get it here. Okay, so we're just like this. There's our rolls and all these good things. So now because I've gone around my body, the elbow is kind of from as soon as I get to this point and I'm going like this elbow is now pointing at the ball. So now when I'm here and I start coming down, this elbow is still kind of hovering in the direction of the ball. It's not pointing down. It's not pointing down. This is a big deal because when you can understand this, everything in Hogan's swing is around his body in one direction and around his body in another. And that's the difference, guys. When you get set up in posture, we're set up, everything looks great. Now, all of a sudden, I'm going like this. And at this point, my arm, because of this waggle and getting this forearm to kind of rotate, now all of a sudden I get like this, and I'm like, okay, now when I come down, that's why I talked about the horizontal path that moves across, because now all of a sudden this elbow isn't pointing down, it's going across, point blank, point blank. And when you can understand this, this is what is going to change your ball striking. Because everybody's like, well, I'm going to do Hogan's, I'm going to try to make this great rotation, but while they're making this great rotation, everything's turning this way, they're trying to swing up here and have everything go in a different direction and then try to match it up with this rotation. It doesn't work that way. Okay, now think about this for a minute. We're going to talk about the hands, the cup, square club face, open club face, shut club face, okay? Everybody thinks that Hogan's, when he sets the hands, I'm gonna do this with this part that you can see. If I set the hand like this, I have a cup in my wrist. So if I go like this and I set it up, there's the cup, and everybody's like, well, that's the cup, it's not gonna work. Well, this does not work that well for the modern golf swing. If I get here and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the modern swing, I'm not gonna do Hogan, so we're here, now I pick it up. So it's cupped like crazy, then when I come down, then when I come through, I'm gonna leave that club face open, point blank. But Mr. Hogan is not going like this. He's not setting a hammer. He is taking, now this is really the cool part. When you take your hand and you roll your hand like this, I wanted you to put your hand out in front of you just like this, okay? So here's my wrist. It's not, it looks like it's more cupped than it is right now. See how it's kind of flat? It just, the appearance is that it looks like it's cupped and it's not. Take the club out in front of you like this. Put your hand on this end and pull, leave this hand and pull it right there. Look what happens. There's the cup. So it's not that I'm trying to get the cup by coming up. It's, I'm getting the cup by going, by taking these fingers and pulling back this way. And then when I put that up, I've got the cup. So it's more of a, that right there. See how I've got the cup right there? It's plain as day. But I haven't tried to get the cup like this. It's more that it's going around. And when it goes around you like this and you go to the top, look at the cup. I didn't try to set this thing like this way and get the cup. All I've done is it feels like I'm going around this, like this way, pulling this thing back, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm right there, but I've got the cup. Now watch this. I'm gonna try to do Mr. Hogan's moves, and I'm gonna keep a square club face, okay? This is how flat you would have to be if you had a square club face with Mr. Hogan's swing. Now let's do a bowed one. Okay. I would have to be back here like this with Mr. Hogan's swing. You will never do this if you're doing Mr. Hogan's swing, and you will never do this if you're keeping it square. The reason that it's cupped is because it's not a cup up, it is a cup around like this, which gives him that nice cupped appearance, okay? Do the bowed and the square club face work for the other stuff? Sure they do. Sure they do. But if you really were doing Mr. Hogan's swing and you went and tried to get a bowed wrist or straight, it's just gonna be very difficult because you're gonna go, my God, that's flatter than even what Mr. Hogan was. Try it for yourself, okay? Now the next part of this is really, really simple. Start understanding it's not a cup up, it is a movement like this. This that gets the cup, not up that gets the cup. Because the thumb is just going around, and at that point right here, you'll feel how the thumb is more cocked like this way, like that. The thumb's gonna feel like it cocks like this instead of this way, not this way. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, there we go. Now we get to the top. So when you're at the top, what I want you to do, like we know how to do the drill like this to get to the top. Now the drill to get down, even though my arm is bent, this doesn't matter, it's a drill. So all I want you to do from here is go like this. You're here. Now, this is what we did in the backswing. Now I want us to go like this. And when you put the hands down, you're gonna be in this position and you're gonna be, I'll be darned. So all of a sudden, we went here on the backswing. Now we're just gonna go like this on the downswing. Here, we're gonna take the right shoulder and go to the left underneath, like that. And then you'll put it down and you'll be right there. And then of course, you'll come up. But in order for you to get this feel, once you're here and you go like this, you're gonna see how this shoulder, this part of my arm and my shoulder and my chest are staying over my leg. My shoulder, when I do this drill, look at this. Everything is right on top of my leg here. But what most people do is they get the shoulder on the outside, or this part of the arm on the outside of the leg, and then they get stuck. The body's now, everything's moving away from them instead of following the rotation. So watch what happens when I do this drill right. Here, now I come through and I'll come up and look at how everything is in this line. Nothing is really violating going out to the outside. So to understand this in simplicity, guys, there is a entire section dedicated to hand path and all those things in the masterclass. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you should, because I'm telling you, it is the best information from A to Z on Mr. Hogan's swing. And it's not that I'm in that masterclass trying to teach you how to make Mr. Hogan's golf swing and make you a clone of him. What it's doing is teaching you the fundamentals so that you can have the absolute best golf swing you've ever had in your life. And I guarantee that if you go through the masterclass. But anyways, the backswing drill here, we're not gonna move it up, we're gonna move it around. Downswing drill, we're gonna take this right shoulder and we're gonna go like this. And look what it just did to my arm. Look at this power angle that I'm in. Because all of a sudden, look at the angle that it's creating with my hips, just like in that, the Sit Pro. Look how my back is back here. My right shoulder is on the right side of my right hip. Everything's coming this way because I just went like this. And when I go like this, it's keeping everything over this right leg. And then all of a sudden my hands just turn down and then everything will come through. We've all seen, or at least I have, because man, I look at a lot of golf videos just like everybody else. There are people out there that think when you get here, the best thing to do is to drop the arms. Just drop the arms. They're telling you you're gonna have a better path. But if I get here and I drop the arms, the elbow is pointing here. It's not pointing at the golf ball. And you're gonna have to do this because even when I'm here, it's just the perspective is going to be off. It's going to look like it's pointing somewhere else. But if you put a golf ball in front of you and you're like, oh, the bottom of that elbow is pointing at the golf ball. Now I'm going to go to the top. Now I'm going to do this drill. The bottom of the elbow at that point right there is moving in the direction of the golf ball, but above it, now it's coming around, hit into impact, and you'll come through. It is pretty simple to understand, but these arms are going like this. Around you, into impact, and around you. So they're just going here, here, release, and around. Here, here, release, and around. And the release isn't, you're really gonna start like the drill that we talked about, you'll be releasing way over on this side. But when I'm saying release, it's just going there, see how it's releasing from back here, there, and around. That's all the golf swing is with the hands in the upper body. But it has to match up to what the lower body's doing. So if the lower body is turning this way, the club and the arms and hands have to follow. Then all of a sudden, instead of setting it up, we're setting this around us. We're gonna get the cup. Now as we come down, now we're coming through. Everything comes into impact and we go through there. Now I also said that I will show you how to keep your upper body behind your right side or your trail side when you're making the swing. So let's cover that. When I make this move, which really feels like all this is going around my body, okay? Then as I start down, look at this, I'm here. Now the lower body's going, but it still feels like I'm back here. So all of a sudden, if you do this motion like this, but the lower body has to be leading the way. So you're here, now that sit pro thing is gonna help us. So we're there, we're gonna make those moves, and when you make those moves, all this is staying on the right side of the body so that it feels like I can hit this thing with everything being behind the ball. Simple. So a drill, get here, come around, we're there, so it's really gonna be like this, guys, I'm sorry. There we go. So there's my rebound. There's my first move. And when you make that first move, leave your hands and everything here. Just leave everything back. Boom. You'll feel this press with this left arm against your chest. Now we're going to make the next stage of the lower body. So we made the next stage, and it's the lower body that's now pulling. But if I look back, see how everything is over on this side? Then I'm going to start going this way, right, with the hips. So right there, now it's everything just gonna come through, and everything will be behind the golf ball. You have to get the right feels, and when you can get the right feels, let me tell you, this stuff gets pretty simple. But like I said in the master class, there are all kinds of different things that are gonna help you accomplish your goals. You should really go and check it out. But anyways, until next time, I hope this helps you, and we'll look for you in the next video.